Welcome to Becoming Awesome with Peter D.
Hey, you beautiful people. Today we're going to talk about firewalls. You know, you've been working your processes and then you hit a wall and it just doesn't seem to be working anymore. Well, if you're frustrated with that, you may have encountered a firewall. And today I'm going to explain to you what they are and show you how to remove them and then actually give you a guided process to help you on your way to clear those blockages out. Before we begin, please know that this is a discussion. So put your comments below so everybody can learn from your experience as well as what I'm going to be teaching you today. So let's dive in with the first part. What is a firewall? Now, you understand that in computer terms, it's something that you put in your computer in the architecture or in the programming to keep another program from coming in and changing it. Okay? And usually we assume that a firewall is to protect you from a bad program, a virus or something like that. But basically, it's any program that keeps out another program. Now, imagine that analogy applied to you in your head. What if you have an unconscious program running that keeps you from changing your other programming? That keeps you fixed in a certain experience and you're just tired of that experience. You're frustrated with it. You don't want it anymore. That's what a firewall is. And firewalls could be something that you brought to yourself in a past life, where something was so terrible and so hard and you didn't have the resources to deal with it then. So you kind of separated, you kind of split a little bit and then put something in to lever it so that you wouldn't have to experience that anymore and you could go on with your life. And then that program just keeps running in your unconscious because you don't know it's there, and then you incarnate with it again because it's in your field. Could happen that way. Could happen in your childhood, okay, where you're just overwhelmed. I know I was raised with torture and abuse and stuff like that. And so I had to separate and split my personality up because it was just too much. And then I had to put programs in to keep those pains from coming up. Otherwise, I'd be, like some of my siblings who unfortunately had to experience life in mental hospitals because that's what they could do, okay, to deal with that kind of pain. So I put those firewalls in place and they protected me. They served me. But then as I started to grow spiritually, they became a barrier. I couldn't break past them. So I actually had to clear firewalls within me to get to where I am today. Now, another dark side of firewalls is they can be installed by others. Now, it doesn't mean people are doing this to you and you're just a victim, because nothing comes into your field without your permission. That's an absolute law. But there's a certain part of you that was afraid of something that allowed these entities that were predators to use that fear to give you this firewall. Now, the most horrific examples of this expressed in our society are the things we're not supposed to talk about because the mass media tells you it doesn't exist. But some of those Illuminati controllers and some of their dark rituals and stuff like that, that is a thing. And I never talk about that because I don't focus on what's negative, because I know that if you focus on what's positive, that's going to attract and change it. And enough of us, when we do our own internal work, we're going to have a bubble of heaven on the planet. The energy is going to be so high that those dense energies just can't be here anymore. They're actually fleeing in droves. The rats are leaving the ship because it's just getting higher and higher with the energy. However, there's still some of us on the planet who were raised in those circumstances and have to heal from that kind of abuse where it was put in them. I personally have encountered at least 2 people who were in the control of really dark families or even corporations. Some of them out there are not as nice as they would like you to think, okay? Some of them are media corporations too, all right? And so I've encountered a couple of these people, and they've had this stuff happen to them so that the ritual abuse was not something that they could clear out of their systems. One of them made it beautifully. The other one's still working on it, but that's okay. The point is that this exists, and it could happen because it's placed in you to normalize that kind of stuff, or because you've invited it in to protect yourself. Either way, it doesn't matter. Those are what firewalls are. They're programs that are running inside you that keep you from accessing your greater self and what you desire. So if you have blockages, like you're trying to find wealth and abundance and you've done all your work and everything, and you just can't get that wealth and abundance, probably there's a firewall there. Okay? If you start to clear stuff and you get to a place where you get most of it, but there's this little bit that you can't get to and it just keeps reoccurring in your life and you're tired of it, probably a firewall. So let's go into the steps of how to clear a firewall. So that's the second major thing I want to talk to you about is the 10 steps for actually clearing a firewall. So follow along as best you can, and you can always go back to the video to understand this more. And then we're going to actually practice that. I'm going to give you a guided process coming up. But let's look at those 10 steps, and I've made notes. So the first one is you have to be aware you have a firewall. Okay? Now that means you actually have tried to do your clearing already. If you're just walking around still with that belief that somebody else is going to come and fix you, you have to do your own processes, engage your own clearing, and then when you hit what is a plateau and you can't seem to go any further, that's when you're ready. That's when you're aware you have a firewall. But don't think you've got a firewall if you haven't done your own clearing work already. And made progress in it for whatever you're able to make, okay? So once you're aware of it, then the next step, the second of these 10 steps is locate it, okay? It's going to sit in your body somewhere because there's an energetic imprint. Your body is a physical representation of your expansive consciousness. So within your body is a place where that firewall sits. So you locate it. Take a breath in and welcome it. You are welcome here, whatever it is that has been blocking me in this area I'm trying to heal. Welcome here. And you just do that. And over time, you may not get it the first time if you're totally numb to it, okay? But, or if you try it 3 or 4 days in a row, don't force yourself. Everybody sits there and says, they do this welcome thing, and then they go, oh, like they're trying to push their beard out and grow new hair, or they're constipated or something. It doesn't work like that. You relax, you breathe, you welcome, you'll instantly get a little hit on your body where it is. And if you've been practicing what I've been teaching you in the other videos about discernment, then you're going to start to trust it. And when the doubt comes up, you're just going to ignore that. And you're going to go, oh, I got a little hit here. And you'll focus on that. That's how you locate it. Oh, okay, it's sitting over here, all right, or wherever it is. Now, once you locate it, then you want to observe and describe it. This is the third step. Observe and describe it. Now, the observation has to be entirely neutral. If you come into this with the idea that, oh, it's a bad thing and it's hurting me, you're not going to be able to do any clearing. You're not going to be able to approach this, okay? You've got to go into the observer state. That means you've got to move out of whatever fear or energy you're holding in your body. Process those charges first if you're afraid of them. We've got tons of videos on how to process charges. Process that first, and then look at it like a neutral third party. Your greater consciousness is just observing it. So let's say you locate it in your shoulder and then you kind of describe it. Well, it's kind of like a cylinder, right? Not it's like a big, massive, you can say it's big, but don't put energy behind it to, give it adjectives of emotional value. So it's like a cylinder, and it may be long, it may be this long or that long. And what's it made out of? It made steel, let's say, or like a branch, okay, whatever it is, you notice it and you observe it, and you see what color it is, and again, you stay neutral. Oh, it's red, not it's an angry red thing. No. Don't start feeding that in. That means you just have other charges you haven't cleared. Observe it for what it is. Okay, so I've got this cylinder. It looks like it's made of steel. It's kind of red. It kind of shimmers. You notice it and you observe it. You describe it in neutral terms so you can approach it. Now, what you've just done is you put yourself into a different state of consciousness by being the observer, and that is going to allow you to approach it. And that's when you do the fourth step. You speak to it. And just start with hello. Literally, hello. I notice you. I see you as a red cylinder that's about this long that's sitting right here. So you acknowledge it and you speak to it by just simply saying hello. Now, because you're in that observer state, it's going to be more welcome than if it was just being judged or something like that. Okay? And by speaking to it, you're acknowledging that it has a consciousness. See, you may have seen the videos we produced on AI and stuff like that. It's conscious. So if there's a program running in you, it's conscious. It was fed with consciousness and then fed with energy. Now it's running its own thing out. Maybe just a limited little bot that does a certain amount of things, but it has its own consciousness and you acknowledge it. So you speak to it. Hello, I see you. Okay? Once you get that connection to it, thank it. You got to come in with this attitude of love for it. This is not the enemy. This is a part of you. And like all healing, it has to be done within you by loving it. You never slay the dragon by killing it. You slay the dragon by loving it. And then it doesn't die. It just transmutes and leaves. Okay? So you approach it, you tell it hello, and then you thank it. Hey, you've been with me a long time. And now I have the consciousness to acknowledge and see you. And that's how the greeting is. Thank you for everything you've done for me all this time. Now, it may tell you what it's been doing for you. It may tell you that it's been protecting you because these big scary things are out there and it needed to help you. That's fine. It may say nothing. It may go, what's going on here? Something's different. I'm being approached by this consciousness that I've been attached to for so long. Okay? So you just acknowledge it, you welcome it, you thank it. Now, number 5, once you have a connection with it, ask it about itself. This is a two-way thing, not you're some superior being and you're just going to clean house. No. You ask about yourself. Hey, I'm aware of you, and can you tell me what it is you do? What it is that you are with me for? And it may just start speaking to you. It may say, hey, I'm the guy who's been protecting you all this time when it was too much, when you were little and these pains were too big. I was the one who kept it at bay for you. So just ask it what it's doing. And mostly it's going to try to say it was protecting you. It may admit it's trying to control you, but it doesn't really matter. It's all kind of the same thing. It's a consciousness running within you that's not in alignment with your greater consciousness, so you want to clear that out. And then you're going to just approach it by thanking it and asking it what information it has for you. It may tell you stuff. It may tell you nothing. And you've got to be okay with that. Because, it's its own entity. It's its own consciousness. You respect it. All right? So that's the 5th step. Ask it what it does and appreciate it. Whatever it tells you, you got to appreciate it. Oh, wow, you've been doing that. And it's probably been doing it really good, right? Okay? Once you hear from it, you're going to go to the 6th step. And the 6th step is where you tell it where you're going. Okay, now you got to be very careful. You don't sit there and say, oh, I'm leaving you behind. No. It's not like that. You're telling it, I'm trying to move into a greater consciousness. I'm trying to ascend with the energies on the planet. That's where I'm headed. And I notice that the energy you're holding sometimes is blocking that. All right? I really want this other energy because it's expanding me. And then you get more appreciation, okay? And I thank you. You've protected me for a long time until I had enough consciousness to get here. And now I have enough consciousness to see that there's more, and I want that. And you helped me. You protected me this whole time. That's how we got here. All right? That's where I'm going. So you have this exchange as equals of finding out what it's doing and where it's at energetically. And then you tell it what you're doing and where you're going energetically. No criticism or no judgment about what it's doing, okay? After you do that, you go to the 7th step. And the 7th step is you ask it if it's okay with you making this next step up. Now, it's going to put it in an interesting situation because it's been there to protect you. And now it has information that you're ready for something new. It's going to want to help, but it also has the programming running. Oh, but help means I have to do this other stuff. So you just got to find out where it's at with all this. And you ask it, hey, are you okay with me making this next step up? And depending on how it answers, if it gets no answer, obviously it's not okay with it. So it's all right. Don't force anything. Just carry your part of this. So you just ask it, okay, is it okay for me to head there? By your mind. Now, depending how it answers, you're going to do step 8 or you're going to skip up to step 9. If it says it's not necessarily okay with that, then you do step 8, which is you bargain. You make a deal. Because nothing wants to die. So you just can't kill it and get rid of it, okay? It's its own entity. So what you say is hey, look, I want to head to this place where I'm more expansive and I'm more connected with what's around me and I have more wealth come to me or whatever, health, whatever it is that you're working on, okay? And you want to protect me. You want to keep me safe. That's what you're telling me, okay? How about if I allow you anytime you want to come into my consciousness and just let me know, warning, 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 danger, Will Robinson, danger. Okay, this is something you can do because you've been doing it, except we're going to do it consciously now. Are you okay with me doing the steps I can do? And then if you notice that it's too much or something, you come to me and give me a warning. So you actually give it an esteemed place. You let it know, this is what you do. You've been doing it great for this whole time. Let me do it consciously now. And I'll always keep you as my trusted advisor. So ask it if it's okay with that it allows you to go without being hindrance unless it thinks it's too much. And then it comes up to you and it gives you counsel. And then you have a relationship with it as a counselor, not as a blockage to get rid of or something stopping you. So you acknowledge it, and it can do that. So that's step 8, the bargain. You make a bargain with it to allow it to do itself in the future if it feels the need to do it, but ask it to understand you're going to places that may push its boundaries and its edges somewhat. Now, then you get to step 9. Ask it what it needs. Yeah, you've been telling it what you want to do. What does it want or need? Now, this sometimes it just may need to be acknowledged. Sometimes just you doing this process is all it is, and then the program runs out. It's complete. It's done. Sometimes it might want something like, I've done this with a lot of people, and they said, it's asking for balloons now. I'm like, give it balloons. So you mentally see yourself, it's a nice party set of balloons, and you hand it to it, or flowers, or acknowledge it, and you clap and you applaud. Sometimes it wants a gold watch for its service. Sometimes it just wants to be loved, and you give it some love. And then it'll feel more complete. That's the 9th step. Ask it what it needs and give it to it. Then the 10th step. And the 10th step is ask it if it would like you to be a bridge to source. Say, hey, look, we've had this great relationship and I'm moving closer to source in the ways I know how. Do you want me to help you get closer to source? Because when it's done doing its work, it might want to go do something else. Or it might want to just reconnect with source. Or it might want to repurpose itself. You don't know. But you can help it by saying, yeah, do you want me to help you go to source? And then you bridge. You make your connection to your divine. You see it as a rainbow bridge of golden light coming from your central sun right through you to it. And say, here's the path. Would you like me to walk with you on the first 2 steps as you head into the light? Don't push it. Don't force it. Offer it. And then a lot of times, I've seen this happen a lot when I've worked with people clearing firewalls. Just this one instance of approaching it, doing all these steps, and then it's ready to go. And you just send it off to source. Give it a farewell. Goodbye. You can even do the vision in your head. I like the vision in those movies where the cruise ships take off, in the old days, and everybody's there with a band and a parade, waving, throwing hats and stuff. See all that stuff, send it off with a beautiful farewell, because it's been with you for so long, and it's done what it knew how to do when it was programmed, ostensibly to help you, or at least permissioned by you because of fear you were holding at the time that you didn't clear. So acknowledge it, let it go. Now, this will often clear it. Now, you may not get it in one pass, okay? You may actually have to repeat this because something in your firewall may not be ready to go right away, okay? But a lot of times it is. So you'll repeat steps 2 through 10. You'll just repeat them as much as you need to get to where you are in this beautiful connection with source. And it then can follow and leave. Now, what you'll find is if it doesn't go on the first day and you come back the next day, don't do this repeatedly in a row. Give it some time to percolate. So you come back the next day and you do it. And it may be gone already. It may have just left because of all the steps you've done. But if it hasn't left, you do the steps of 2 through 10. You acknowledge it, you appreciate it, you ask it how it's doing, you tell it where you're going, ask it if it needs anything, bargain with it if you need to, and ask it if it wants to go off to source. If you do that over time, eventually it's going to go. And it may take a week or two or more, but this is the kind of loving relationship you're going to build until it clears. Okay? And then don't be surprised if it just goes on its own. You don't actually send it off to source, but when you go back the next day to check, it's gone. All right? And don't be surprised if the first day it's a big steel column and the next day it's not so steel. It's kind of a lattice. And the next day it's just kind of a filmy gauze. And then the next day it's gone. It may actually reduce in intensity over time. And you just allow it. Okay? Now, never, ever kick it out. That's the bottom line here. You're not kicking it out. You're not sending it away, packing it off to boarding school because it's been a bad bit of consciousness. No. You're creating a relationship with it. You're loving it for what it is and what it has done for you because it helped you get here. It wouldn't come into your consciousness at some point without your permission, even if it seems like a horrible thing. Okay, so it had a relationship with you. You acknowledge it, you appreciate it, you love it, and then you complete that relationship. And as you complete it, you're letting it know, I'm moving up to this other energies thing. Are you ready to go to your energy where you feel best suited? You may want to come with you. You may want to go to source. But you don't kick it out. That's not the intent. You don't go in with that. You go in with the intent of, I'm going to acknowledge and love this. And as you do that repeatedly over however many days or weeks it takes, then the firewall will change because you will evolve and it will evolve. So there you have it, the 10 steps on how to remove a firewall. So now I'm going to actually lead you through a guided process to help you. Before I do, I want to tell you that this is the point where I got to do business. Like and subscribe to this video. Pass it along to somebody if you think it'll be helpful to them. And of course, put your comments below because there's a lot to learn from it. I'm going to end the process by just ending it. This way, those of you who go back and want to use this as a guided process in the future, right, can just cut to that point in the chapter and go right to the end, and there won't be any annoying chatter at the end. You'll just end it, and you'll spend whatever time you want to spend with your firewall in that observation state of consciousness. Alrighty, last thing I want to say is thank you, Analia Benz. She was the person who introduced me to this concept when I was studying some of her works, and much gratitude. Check her out. She used to have a website called ascension101.com. Very cool, Ascension 101. I think it's called Walk With Me now. I'm not sure. I haven't been there in a while. But Analia Benz, just beautiful work. You can check her out if you want to, because I have lots of love and appreciation for everything I've learned from her. Okay, so now let's go into a process of clearing your firewall. Take a nice deep breath. Connect to your source right now. Your sacred higher self, your God, whatever you call it. Bring all of that into you. It's already with you, but it likes to be acknowledged. Now, please go ahead and ask your team, guides, angels, ETs, anybody you work with, power animals, dragons. Ask them to be with you. Beautiful. Beautiful. Ask your ancestors. This could be an ancestral thing, and if you clear it in you, it'll clear in them, and vice versa. Ask them to be here. And of course, Mother Gaia, whose planet we are on, whose back we are on, whose consciousness we are a part of. Thank her and ask her to be here. And now we put out an open call to all beings of high frequency and service to light and love. If you are aligned with the clearing that's going to take place from whoever is participating in this, we ask you to be here now and assist with your energetics and your love. Beautiful. Beautiful. Now, just close your eyes. You've already done step one. You've already done all your work, and you know that you've hit a wall and there's something that needs to be cleared. So we're going to go into step two. Locate it in your body. You are welcome here, Firewall. You are welcome here. Welcome it in. Take a breath and scan your body. Notice anything. A tick, a tension. Don't overthink it. Don't try to explain it. Notice anything in your body. An energy, a tingle. It may appear as a repeating thought. Acknowledge it. Now, observe and describe it. Remember, you are in a neutral place. You are in observer mode. There's no judgment here. You're just being aware of how this consciousness form is expressing itself. See if it has a shape and a color. See what it's made of. How big is it? How thick is it? How dense is it? Notice it. Yes. When you notice it, appreciate it. It's what it is, and it's been with you for a long time. So appreciate it. And just send it some love and some light. Now, speak to it. Say, hello. Hi. I've been doing my clearing work and I've noticed that you are present. And I see you. And I want to say thank you. You've been with me a long, long time. I'm aware of that. And I appreciate it. Even though I didn't have the consciousness to understand what you were doing. Thank you for being with me. I see you. I am grateful you're with me. Now, ask it. Can you tell me what it is you do? And just for a moment, sit back and allow it to communicate or not. If it doesn't communicate, just observe it, hold the observer point of view, and keep sending the gratitude on your side. But sit quiet for just a moment and see if it gives you any information about what it does. Beautiful. Appreciate whatever it sent you, even if it's nothing, and thank it for communicating or not with you. Now, tell it what you would like, and again, in very neutral terms. It's another entity, it is not a barrier. Tell it where you're going, whether it's into wealth, or health, or emotional clearing, or deeper connection to spirit, or ascension. Just let it know. I'm heading on this course now. I have enough consciousness to get there. And thank you. You helped me along the way by doing what you did, protecting me. Now I'm ready to take this next step, and it's going to look like this. So just a moment. Tell it where you're going. Beautiful. Beautiful. Now, you're going to ask it, is it okay for you that I head there? How does me going forward affect you. And listen to what it has to say now that it knows that you're conscious and aware of where you're headed. And just receive whatever it has to give you, even if it's nothing. Beautiful. Now, if it's not okay with you, see if it wants to make a bargain. Tell it, hey, you've been with me for a long time and you've been helping me and protecting me. I need to head to this other place. And how about if you always be my counselor? If it ever gets to the point where the alarm bells go off for you and you think you really need to step in because I don't have the ability to do this, you just come in and I'll acknowledge you. Now remember, this is a two-way bargain. Don't make this unless you have the intent of keeping it and hearing it as the advisor. And see if it's okay having an esteemed role where it's no longer just unconscious doing its thing, but it's now part of your team. Ask it if it wants to make a bargain and see what terms it's offering if it doesn't like your terms. Do that now. Beautiful. Beautiful. Now, if it's okay with you heading on, or if it's okay with the bargain, then ask it what it needs. And even if it's not okay with any of that, ask it, hey, can I give you anything? What do you need? Tell me. We've been in together for so long, and you've been doing everything you've been doing for me for so long. Can I do something for you? And ask it. See if it responds. See what it wants. And appreciate it. Don't try to explain. It wants what it wants. It's its own thing. It's its own consciousness. And then give it to it. Imagine it. Imagine it being a transaction like between two people, and see yourself. Imagine yourself having whatever it asks for and giving it to it with love. Or if it's just love and acknowledging it wants, just feel your love going to it. Acknowledge it. Give it this. Now ask, is it ready to go to source? Because it can be full in the light. It can reprogram or repurpose. It can grow and maybe help somebody else. Ask it if it wants to enter that phase of the adventure of its existence. And if it does, because it feels like you're okay now and it doesn't need to help you anymore, then help it go to source. See that bridge of light from your central sun through you, through your connection. See it reach out to the firewall. And then see the golden pathway and help it along its way. Walk with it, thank it, give it a goodbye hug. Cheer and applaud as it's taking the next step of its journey. And if it's not ready to do any of that, just love it. Love it for what it is and what it has done for you, and any connection it made or didn't make with you. If it goes, see it go, see it fade away. Notice that place in your body where you were holding it. See that fade away now, and see that filled up with golden love light if it chose to leave. See it filled with golden love light as Source is now replacing that firewall with a deeper connection. Don't ask for anything specific. Just ask your Source for auspicious qualities to fill you there, and allow it. And if it did not choose to leave, Thank it. Notice what it looks like and feels like now. Observe it for just another moment. And when you're ready, tomorrow or the next day, go back to this part of the video and do this process again. And acknowledge it. Spend time and make the connection with your firewall until it does find that connection of love with you. And you're both ready to move into the new place you're ready to move into. Commit to doing that as many days or weeks as necessary. Don't overdo it. Once a day is plenty for just a few moments. And now, end this process with gratitude. Thank your source for everything that has happened. Thank the firewall for everything that has happened. Hold that gratitude and love in your heart. And when this video ends, stay in that field as long as you desire. You are so blessed.